传奇新生与你见证2019英雄联盟全球总决赛斗鱼全程直播。
Combo showing off to take down Rookie over by the blue buff prior to the last Baron take, and one more play like that could close the game.
Now this inner turret, is it going to be worth it for IG to defend? They've got 5 members back alive. Leanne is down to about half health as they're looking for it, but Rookie gets hit by the seismic shove, and now Beryl sets up as the helicopter in the backline. Canyon survives on next to nothing, but the Shy is able to execute him, diving on back in. The AoE damage is gigantic, but meanwhile, on the backline, it is going to be Damwon able to get the work done. A double kill for Nogri as Leanne's going to get the ace completed for Damwon, and this should be the game.
Yeah, that should be it. You can see there's still 3 members left alive. Creep wave in the bottom lane. They're going to push in, and that looked like the Shy had maybe saved the fight, but you can just see how strong Nuclear is.
And we saw so much of what we wanted from this game. In the end, it was Damwon able to reign supreme, but the Shy almost able to clutch things out. Feels like late game is going to be what we're looking at throughout at least the beginning of this group stage as the Nexus goes down and Damwon will be able to take down IG, the 2018 champions.
And they tie them at the top of the table in their group now, really silencing a lot of the doubters after that early loss to Team Liquid, people questioning how good was Damwon, and they certainly showed up here today, but you have to say it's another kind of earlier game-focused comp falling down to the wayside. We have not seen the Lucians been picking up these wins.
Yeah, we certainly haven't, but if you told me there was going to be 35 kills in 37 minutes on an LPL versus LCK game, and then you told me LCK won, I would be like, what is going on right now? Such a bloody affair between these two teams. Certainly Damwon willing to play their style, willing to continue to take these skill check matchups, and they just took out a world champion.
They did. This was also a Damwon that was playing with a lot more patience. They were a lot more reserved. Canyon had an extraordinary performance here today, but it wasn't that lax play that we saw the first time we saw Damwon gaming. This was more like the controlled play that we saw out of the AHQ series, which was definitely a Damwon playing with a lot more discipline.
Yeah, it certainly was, but Frost kind of hit the nail on the head. She felt like it was like 2.5 members showing up on this Damwon lineup, and they needed more than that. Well, this was definitely Beryl's best performance in the early game. It was 100% Canyon's, and Nuclear was also there in every important team fight. So this was certainly 5 members stepping up on the international stage.
It really was, and you have to give a lot of credit, I think, to that support jungle combo for setting up Nuclear, for getting him that success in the early stages, because this was the IG bot lane in the 2v2, showing the difference in class. But the teamwork, I think, from Damwon, the patience and intelligence that they showed in this game is really what set them apart and got them the win.
It was just an incredibly amazing game to watch as well. There's just so much action, like you were saying, Jake. I mean, this was one of the most kill-heavy games that we've seen, and it's LCK versus LPL. Absolutely amazing stuff. But for a breakdown, let's head to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you so much, Atlas. From Challenger to Worlds to beating the world champion, that is Damwon Gaming, and it might have been a bit messy at times, but damn, was it fun to watch. Some of these individual outplays were fantastic.
And what was lost in the Lil IG versus Big IG narrative is the fact that IG are known for explosiveness and skill checks, and both of these versions of IG, Damwon and IG, were doing that aplenty. It was just a treat to watch.
Yeah, it was also a bit of an atypical game because we were expecting this solo lane showdown where they would be the ones to decide the game. And we saw a split map at the very start of the game thinking, wow, Canyon, Damwon, they're outsmarting the Shy. Then he just put all of his ganks bot lane the whole game and got Nuclear, really the guy who everyone was counting out before this game, really fed and played through bot lane for most of it.
And that creates that tension because all the Damwon fans are like, oh no, Nuclear, he's supposed to be our savior. He's supposed to be our carry right there. And every time you saw him flying in, either whether because he was tagged by a cask or by his own accord, it felt like everyone was just like white knuckle, like, ooh, how's it going to go?
A lot of good plays and mechanical outplays. Do we think there was also some faulty decision making though in a lot of these moments, or is it hard to read?
I think to a degree, yes. If we roll the draft on the screen, one thing to remember from the Damwon side is actually very hard to initiate with this comp. You have a lot of scaling. There's definitely champions late game, but then your engage is flash, poppy, heroic charge, or kind of needing the enemy to be responding to you. So while in fits and spurts it worked, you noticed how even though there were multiple times where we thought they would ride an advantage into breaking the base, that came way later because of the degree of difficulty. And this is a Damwon special. Yeah. They're happy to just pick side lanes and give up conventional things like engage.
Yeah, I think ease of execution is a very important term here. We talked about it a lot in the play-in stage, and I'm constantly telling teams to go simple. This was not simple.
Please explain this idea to Damwon, because they don't listen.
But if you're good enough, you can execute. And yes, they faltered a couple of times, but I think that's because the difficulty was so high in actually finding fights to win with this comp.
I just thought that their game plan was ingenious. Jet, you brought up that this was Invictus Gaming's former coach now behind Damwon, and it looked like it was a perfectly executed strategy to take down Invictus Gaming. The fact that you banned away the Yasuo when you saw the Gragas come out for Leon, one of Rookie's #1 champions. The fact that then you picked away the Jace, his other go-to champ, and then split map by having a Talia from the very beginning to draft to the very start of the game. Damwon clearly knew how to dissect Invictus Gaming.
And Jet, you were absolutely enthralled by that early game from Canyon.
Yeah, so Canyon did a couple of interesting things. The split map, I think, was definitely what he should have done, but there was a moment in the bottom lane when he put his first gank down bottom there. I believe we have it on the replay.
We do.
Where he actually takes the minion wave away from Nuclear as he's playing a bot camp game. And 10 out of 10 80 carries are going to tell you not to do this, but he ends up doing it. Watching the early game, they actually see a control ward walked over, but then Canyon just knows he can gank this bot lane. They have the Poppy to gank the Nautilus, and the important thing that I want to focus on is what happens after. This wave is freezable. You have a Kai'Sa who would hyperscale that you can wait for, and Canyon actually stuck around and cleared that minion wave, which was huge.
He was happy to take the gold there. Remember, he showed top side to begin this play and then was down bot multiple times. This one, a thing of beauty. The degree of difficulty on the execution to get a double kill here is sky high.
And again, why this is so important is because the game was set up to split map topside for the initial few clears, and then when you get an advantage bot side as well, when it should have been that we have a Kai'Sa Poppy bot lane, there's no way you can try to break that. Like, good luck, Beryl and Nuclear, you guys are on your own. But instead, then they start winning bot side. Then suddenly you have winning matchups in both top and bot, or at least getting gold back where they shouldn't have gotten it.
And the funny thing is, Canyon definitely the MVP here. The amazing thing is
the Oppo player of the game.
Exactly, and the big takeaway for me when I'm thinking about this is the fact that we knew skill checks would be there. Would it be Nagori versus the Shy? Would it be Showmaker in the mid lane against Rookie? But it was actually the pathing and the fact that Canyon got so much done early, and Leon was largely just a passenger, never in the right place at the right time, falling behind. So not often the jungle skill check is going to be the most notable one between these teams, but definitely present here.
It's the difference between the support structure around it. We know how talented. We saw the incredible mechanical outplays of Showmaker versus Rookie, of Nuguri versus the Shy. It was always going to be the jungle support difference. And for me, that's what came out, and that's what made Damwon come out on top.
And in the mid-game, though, it did become a bit muddied, right? And if you look at what we've seen from these both teams when they played domestically, is that IG can actually play quite well from a deficit because they have that high mechanical capabilities on their solo laners. This was a big deficit, though. Yeah. On the other side, Damwon has been known to give up material leads in the LCK a couple of times too many. So we get into this mid-game where all of a sudden, people like the Shy and Rookie can definitely make something happen.
And the fun part about all these replays are, it really was shouting the name of conventional carry players, and it changed in terms of identity on the side of Damwon, and yet for Invictus Gaming, it was the Shy every time popping off.
I mean, watching this just together as a group, everyone was like, oh, Invictus Gaming are winning. Oh, damn, we're gonna win. What is this? Like, back and forth the entire time.
Yeah, this moment was where we thought, oh no.
That was the classic
what has Nuclear
mistake,
done?
Unfortunately.
But history is written by the victors. That was fine. It's the rest of the game you need to pay attention to.
Reddit's going to be like, not even close.
Yeah, this fight for the Shy was awesome. Landing 2 E's that he was able to get massive dashes out of to really chase down kills. And one inhibitor was taken by IG. They could have greeted for a second, but they opted for a reset. And then just a couple of big picks by the rest of Damwon here. And even this last fight, like, you can see how powerful and how good the Shy is, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, fantastic. What do we take away from this in terms of the big picture? The fact that in such a skirmish-heavy game versus the LPL, Damwon came out on top?
The big picture I take is 4 more games, please. Best of 5 between these teams. That's the only picture I'm interested in.
Listen, I'm thinking about this group in the top 3 teams, and so far we've seen rock, paper, scissors. I can't wait to see the 3 of them play each other again. If TL takes care of business against HQ, we'll have a 3-way tie at 2-1, leading into a very exciting final day.
You like those?
I hate ties. However, I appreciate a 2-1 TL. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, we have to choose there. In any case, IG and Damwon, they put on a show here in game 1. And here in a second, you will see them through the eyes of the Oppo mobile camera with anti-shake technology to capture all of the best moments.